Greetings, everybody. My name is James. I am from the internet, and today we are going to be talking about labor and employment. Now, yesterday was a Monday. You may have noticed I didn't put out a video because it was Labor Day, and my employers at act.tv gave us the day off. Why? Because we're a progressive organization that pushes for workers' rights. And, well, we're not going to have a bunch of people like me sitting on the air screaming about stuff when we're forcing everybody to come to work. So, kudos, act.tv, giving me the Labor Day off. So what did I do? Well, I slept in. That was nice. And then I tried to think about all the fun things I could do with my day off. I usually don't have very many of them. It's like, maybe I could take advantage of some of these Labor Day sales, head to the Lowe's, pick up a lawnmower or something. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on, it's Labor Day, I have off, but all those poor bastards in retail are still working. That kind of sucks. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll go out and get the wife and I something nice for lunch. We've been eating PBJ on Wonder Bread at home for about a year and a half now. But again, I remembered whole bunch of minimum wage employees being forced to work on Labor Day while I get to sit at home on my ass, and it's not exactly like I have some white-collar corporate management gig either. So mostly what I did was I sat home and I relaxed. I, read some news and found out some things. And so what I thought I would do today is share with you something I caught and I wanted to discuss that perhaps paints a little better picture on the current state of labor here in the country and actually runs slightly counter to what you might be hearing about on ye old Fox News or CNN or any other corporate media who benefits from people having strong confidence in spending and the dollar, unlike myself who spent no money yesterday. All right, let's take a look. Here we go. This is what the monthly unemployment and labor report looks like as put out by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is a subdivision of the Department of Labor. This is the report that gets quoted by every single news organization every month when they tout what the national unemployment average is. Now, as I have pointed out many times on this show and even in a recent video yet again, there are many different levels of unemployment and reported unemployment. The unemployment statistic that you hear most often in the news is what is called the U4 unemployment rate. It's the one that's always lowest because it extracts the most unemployed people out of the potential pool of laborers. Now, this is the most recent release. It came out on Friday, and this shows us that for August of 2021, unemployment fell yet again. The national unemployment average, now being touted by the Department of Labor Statistics, is a meager 5.2%. It's literally as if 95% of the country is at work happily whistling a tune, punching a clock, getting those bennies, stimulating the economy, waving to people as they go to work carrying their lunch pail. Hi, Bob. Hi, nice to see you, Susan. Oh, beautiful day, isn't it? Yes, I'm just going off to work. However, if you actually read one of these very dry, very boring, very purposefully vague documents long enough, you get to know what they actually say. And oddly enough, it turns out that all the touting of the health of our economy and getting back to work and fully reopening and building back better, it turns out that that's only true for certain segments of society and the economy. Shocker, I know, right? It's almost like if you only take the most vanilla, most benevolent statistic out of all the labor statistics and you throw it out there as a national average, you get to just sugarcoat what's happening in certain sects of the labor market. Here, let me show you an example here. So unemployment dropped in August all the way down to 5.2%, with the U.S. netting an additional 235,000 more jobs that were filled in August and currently being labored at than there were the month before in July. However, it would seem that that 0.2 decrease and those 235,000 jobs that were added, well, it turns out, statistically speaking, that all of them were solely gained by white men. Among the major work groups, the unemployment rates for adult men and whites declined in August, while the rate for teenagers increased. The jobless rates for adult women, blacks, Asians, and Hispanics showed little change over the month. That's right. Teenagers had fewer jobs, because school's starting back up and everybody has to go to school. And so those and all other available jobs on the market were seemingly filled by white men. Woo! I was starting to worry there was like an imbalance in the force there or something. Now, briefly, proving my point about who is and is not counted was this little ditty snuck away on the bottom of page 2. The number of persons not in the labor force who currently want a job declined by 835,000 in August to 5.7 million people, which means it was more than 6 million people last month. People who are not in the labor force who very much want a job. Turns out that these people are not counted as unemployed because they weren't actively looking for work during the last 4 weeks or were unable to take a job. You're injured, you're sick, you're at home taking care of your child until the school year begins. Yeah, that's right. If you do any of those things, you're not counted as unemployed, even though there's about 6 million of you, according to the Department of Labor statistics. Now, in addition to the end of the eviction moratorium last week and today, an end to the additional federal pandemic unemployment, comes this little piece of information that 5.6 million people reported that they had been unable to work because their employer closed or lost business due to the pandemic. However, as I just told you, we've now gotten rid of that enhanced federal unemployment. So 5.6 million people who now don't have a job through no fault of their own have no recourse or no ability to get some extra money to pay their back rent. And so all of those people are very shortly going to completely get wiped out of labor statistics as if they never existed, because that's how we report employment here in the U.S. And now we get to my favorite part of the Department of Labor Statistics monthly report, the establishment survey data. Yes, I'm a data nerd. I actually read this stuff every month. Don't at me. Now, what this does is this tells you every month roughly how many jobs were lost or gained in specific industries. And you would think with this month's report telling us that unemployment dropped all the way down to 5.2% and almost 250,000 jobs were added across the country, that this would be a fairly even distribution of jobs because summer is coming to an end, school is going back into session, more companies are coming back online and reopening. However, it would seem that's not the case. In fact, there are a few glaring holes and massive job losses in specific industries which might sound somewhat familiar to you as I go down the list here. So let's see. Overall employment rose. Employment in professional and business services rose. Employment in transportation rose. Employment in warehousing rose. Oh, what's this? Employment increased by 40,000 people in private education, but declined by 21,000 in state government education. Wow. It's almost like people are getting sick of having parents throw dirty masks at them and scream at them and send them death threats in their mailboxes every day because they work at some horrible libturd, demon rat controlled place that is demanding things like masks or vaccines. So instead, teachers are literally walking off the job in droves of tens of thousands and taking gigs as private tutors for parents who don't want to send their kids to giant viral death camps. So at least that number went down. Now let's see what else. Manufacturing jobs added. Other services industry jobs added. Employment and information added. Financial activities added. Mining added. Wait, what's this? Employment in retail declined by almost 30,000 people in August, with losses in food and beverage stores and in building material and garden supply stores. Retail trade employment is down almost 300,000 jobs since February of 2020. In other words, it's all the minimum wage jobs of people who get absolutely no support from their companies, who force them to deal with an unmasked, unvaccinated general public hundreds, if not thousands of times a day, having all of these interactions, taking their viral coded money, listening to them when they complain loudly about how horrible their food is, or how they can't possibly find a piece of lumber. Oh, and I'm sorry, this is just a theatrical reenactment of what it must be like to work a $7.25 an hour job at fast food or at Home Depot and have the general public literally shooting their COVID particulates at you because, oh yeah, there are no mask and vaccine mandates. Isn't that bizarre? The people who are put the most at risk and the people who have the least to gain are seemingly leaving their shitty jobs. And employers, rather than offer more money or more benefits, or maybe caring about their general well-being in the middle of a pandemic, instead have decided to sit on their hands and wait people out. They just assume the federal government will eventually get rid of the eviction moratorium and the extended unemployment benefit. Shit, I guess they did that. Now those people won. So what does all of this mean to you, the general public, the viewer at home? What impact will this have on your life? Well, if you're one of those piece of garbage people who get off on having to be served because, you make $15, $17 an hour, and the only way you can feel better about yourself because you're a capitalist is by demeaning the people who make less than you, thus in your own mind, elevating your own worth and value in the market. Well, if you're one of those people, congratulations. The poorest of the poor and the most desperate of the desperate are going to have to come crawling back to make you your mocha douche frappuccino and scrub your toilet bowls for minimum wage. Yeah, I'm sure that makes you really happy. For everybody else at home, actual human beings, members of the working class, people who live in my community and most other communities, well, it means they're just going to have to go back to grinding a little harder, doing work that is a little shittier, and still not getting paid nearly what their labor is worth. So congratulations, plutocrats, wealthy capitalists, and politicians. Y'all work together and you managed to get rid of all the COVID benefits without actually fucking getting rid of COVID. So it looks like it's time for everybody to start picking up the bodies and throwing them on the bonfire as we sacrifice people to the great golden bull god to make the fucking line go up. Because that's the part of the show we're at, people. So stop being lazy. Get off your ass. Go out there and work a hazardous minimum wage job. You are the sacrifice that the wealthiest of the wealthy are willing to make to have everything go back to normal. Until next time, my name is James. I am from the internet, and I am out. Peace.